Hey there, it's Clay, and in this video, we're going to talk about contacting your ex during quarantine. Now, we're obviously living through historic times right now, and it is likely going to change some of the social dynamics in terms of how we can relate to one another, and even how we might even be able to, get back together with our ex, since, that is what a large chunk of this channel is about, saving your relationship. But first, my name is Clay with modernlove.life, where we help you get the great loving relationship that you're looking for without having to play mind games, without having to play hard to get, and without having to pretend to be someone or something that you are not. And if you agree with me on all of that, please help me out by hitting that thumbs up button for this video and by subscribing to the channel as well, so that you can get notified when we upload and post new videos. Okay. So let's see. I did want to let you know that since we have concluded the Effortless Connection launch, if you want to follow us, a great way to do that is to get on our email newsletter. There's a link to it down below in the description box. It's totally free to sign up for it, and you get a nice little report that goes through some of the misconceptions and myths about saving a relationship and tells you what actually works based off of me working with people, helping them with relationships since 2009. So if you want to check it out, it's totally free. The link for that is in the description box below. But okay, here we are. It's 2020, weird times. There've been a couple times throughout this year when I've just had to stop and just crack open that book of Revelations again and just check and see is this it? Is this it? Like, what does it say? But yeah, here we are. It's November, and a lot of places are going into a second lockdown now. The state that I live in just went into a second lockdown last week, and I know that there are other states and other areas that are already in lockdown or planning lockdowns in the near future. And I know there's also, countries in Europe and other places that are also locking down as well too, because of, it's flu season and there's a virus. Okay. But obviously, I think this is not most of our first lockdowns. We have been through that first lockdown last spring. And you might be wondering, like, okay, well, how do all of these strange things happening in this year affect our ability to actually connect with one another or to form meaningful communications and connections with each other? And the truth is that this actually could be an opportunity for you and your ex to connect in a better way, okay? So when all of this first started back in like March or something, I was kind of torn. I was like, okay, this could potentially bring people closer together and create a lot of solidarity, or it could tear a lot of relationships apart. We know from some data that started to come out after that first round of lockdowns that it has placed a pretty heavy strain on a lot of relationships. However, it has brought some people closer together. I'm fortunate to say that I believe it actually has brought me and my wife and even my daughter closer together. So I am grateful for that. But, there is a difference between the people that it's going to tear apart versus the people that it's going to bring together. And I think communication is really the main difference between those two things. That's part of the reason why we created the whole Effortless Connection course back over the summer, was because it became abundantly clear to me that communication was going to be a big, important factor for helping people to survive, some of these challenges and maybe any future challenges that we hopefully don't have to experience as a global community. But here we are. And you might be wondering, okay, so is this going to affect my ability to contact my ex, to reach out to them and all of that? And I think that it actually can, for the positive, believe it or not. Things like this pandemic, things like many of the challenges and setbacks that I think many of us have faced in this year, 2020, are things that cause us to step back and take a bigger perspective on things. They cause us to reevaluate what's important to us and what's not important to us. If for example, everything was great and it was like 2019, it might be really easy to hold onto a grudge about something. to say, oh, I'm just going to ghost you or something like that. But when we're going through something serious, like we've seen, many iterations of that in 2020, it causes us to focus on like what's actually important, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's social unrest, whether it's a contested presidential election, whether it's natural disasters and wildfires like we had here on the West Coast, whether it's, people that you love or care for being in, real danger or real challenges or anything like that, whether that's due to health consequences, natural disasters, just personal issues, job losses due to the lockdowns and things like that. I mean, there are so many things that can stop and cause you to step back and gain perspective. So I do think that a lot of people who are, contacting their ex during quarantine are much more likely to have a positive response come from that. So, if there was a part of your ex who is, really shut off, really closed off, not wanting to talk to you, potentially everything happening in the world can give them that bigger perspective to cause them to say, okay, I'm not going to be as petty as I was before. Maybe I'll just actually have a civil conversation with you. Okay. But, as you do this, you got to actually have a civil conversation with them. Like, you can't just be like strong arming them into like trying to get back together, trying to meet your own agenda of getting back together or something like that without first listening and understanding them. You want to, of course, show up, be empathetic, be someone who's willing to have an emotional connection with them. And if that emotional connection forms, it makes sense that out of that can grow a new relationship. So maybe the two of you can get together, but you have to stick with the fundamentals, okay? A lot of the fundamentals that we've talked about in, many of our videos are absolutely still in place. You want to have that emotional connection. You want to focus on making it as strong as possible. You want to work on the advanced relational skills and all of these, many things that we've talked about. But it's just the whole, situation, the pandemic has changed sort of the emotional context underneath all of this. It sort of shifted it from like, okay, it's normal, ordinary times. Let's be petty about stupid things like what someone posted online or something to like, oh, wow, the world is fractured and hanging on by a thread. And maybe it's not worth being petty over these silly little things, right? So, by the way, if you do want to learn more about at least my take and my opinions on how this whole pandemic and many other challenges we're facing this year affect the process of reconnecting with your ex and saving your relationship, please feel free to check out our video playlist on all of that. It's up there in the corner. But yeah, that's what I'd really recommend is that if there's been a part of you that's been holding back on contacting your ex, I think now is probably a good time to do it. With everything going on in the world, they're probably going to be a little bit more open and a little bit more receptive and a little bit more willing to have a conversation with you if they haven't before, or if they've been closed off to it. Again, people do have that bigger perspective. I've seen it with many of my clients just over the past few months. They've been willing to reconnect with one another just due to the fact that everything's upside down right now. And so there's nothing to lose. Just go ahead and give it a shot. Just go ahead and reconnect with them. Go ahead and take it one step at a time. Follow those basic foundations of building that emotional connection, nurturing it, taking an interest in them, being empathetic and understanding, and see where the connection takes you. Maybe this is a new beginning for the two of you. Maybe this is an opportunity for the two of you to have a fresh start together and a 2.0 reboot of your relationship. Again, I don't know, but I think that at least in an emotional context sort of way, this whole pandemic has created the setup for a lot of people to be much more forgiving towards others. So if that's been an issue with you when it comes to keeping in contact with your ex, I say go ahead and do it. Anyway, take care. And if you do want to sign up for our email newsletter, it is down there. Once again, totally free. Feel free to sign up. If you do want to learn more about our take on this whole pandemic situation, you might want to check out this video series over here, or you might want to check out this video right here. Anyway, please take care, and I'll talk to you next time.